Hello everyone. In this video, I'll be dealing with prisoner's dilemma. Prisoner's dilemma is one of the interesting topics in game theory model. Prisoner's dilemma is a competitive game, which means that it is a non-cooperative game. There is no cooperation between the players. Means that the players always try to maximize their payoff, and they always try to bypass the another player. Prisoner's dilemma is a special game theory modeling based on distrust and isolation among the actors and how they make decisions. Here, distrust and isolation are the major terms. The prisoner's dilemma is actually focused on distrust and isolation. This means that the players or the prisoners cannot communicate with each other and they lack trust between them, as this is a non-cooperative game. They always try to maximize the payoff and they always try to bypass each other. Prisoner's dilemma describes a game of social interaction that involves two prisoners. There may be more than two prisoners, but for simplicity we have only taken two prisoners. The scenario of the game: two prisoners captured by police but insufficient evidence to prosecute, two prisoners placed in separate cells or in isolation, that is, they cannot communicate with each other. Police offers deals to both prisoners that create dilemma. So now let's take a view over the prisoner's dilemma table. There is two prisoner A and prisoner B, and there is two options for them, either to confess or to remain silent. It means prisoner A can choose to confess or to stay silent. Similarly, prisoner B can confess or stay silent. And police goes to A and provides a deal such that if A confesses and B remains silent, then A is freed up. Confesses and B remains silent, then the A is freed up and B is sentenced to 10 years of imprisonment. Similarly, police goes to B and offers the same deal. That is, police goes to B and says to B that if B confesses and A stays silent, then B is freed up and A is sentenced to 10 years of imprisonment. And further, police clarifies that if both of them confesses, then both gets imprisonment of 5 years each, and if both of them remain silent, then both of them gets imprisonment of 1 year each. The deal creates suspicion and renders mental tension. Staying silent is the best option for both if they highly trust each other, but the situation is not the same in majority of cases. Means that this game is the non-cooperative game. It is a competitive game. They lack distrust. They lack trust. They are in the verge of distrust. They distrust one another, so they never choose to stay silent. If one of them stays silent and other confesses, then it is a high risk for a prisoner who stays silent. That is, if B confesses and A remains silent, then A will get imprisonment of 10 years, which is very very risky, and B is freed up, which is a boon for B, and similarly for A. And if A confesses and B remains silent, then B will go to prison for 10 years and A will be freed up, which is boon for A but a curse for B. So eventually they will confess. Each of the prisoners is at a high risk when choosing to remain silent, because if one of them confesses, the prisoner remaining silent gets imprisonment of 10 years. Hence both of them confesses. Thus the Nash equilibrium is attended at the confess situation or confess strategy by the players. A Nash equilibrium exists when there is no unilateral profitable deviation from any of the player involved. That is, there is no deviation from this point, that is from this strategy, by prisoner A and prisoner B, because they lack trust between them, so they will never choose a strategy to stay silent by both, and the strategy of confessing by one and staying silent by another is never chosen, because it is curse for one of the players and a boon for other. So the optimal strategy is to confess by both. Optimal equilibrium exists when both the players are better off. Both the players are better off when they remain silent, but they will not remain silent because they lack trust between them. From the point of view of the third person, it is far better to stay silent than to confess. So the Nash equilibrium is not a Pareto equilibrium or the optimal equilibrium from the point of view of the third person. Hence, from the point of view of the third person, the Nash equilibrium can be seen or is seemed as the irrational decision. Hence, the Nash equilibrium is not always Pareto optimal. It seems non-rational to the third person because remaining silent reduces punishment. Thank you for watching this video, and if you have any queries or any suggestions, then you can freely convey to me in the comment box. Thank you.